Hello and welcome to day 3 of this retreat where we are learning to be in the presence of God at all times. I hope that you've been able to spend more meaningful time with God and that it has been a fruitful experience thus far. If it hasn't been going as you might have hoped, please don't be discouraged. Patience and perseverance are the keys to success, especially here. Now we're going to get a little deeper today, so please get focused. Are you ready? Good. Yesterday we ended with words from Jesus where he said that if we are to do anything, we have to be in him and he in us. That is from John 15, and I would like to begin by reading a couple of verses from the chapter because we can gain a lot of understanding about the Christian life from it, and also why it is vital that we remain perpetually in the presence of God. Jesus says, "I am the vine, you are the branches. Those who abide remain in me, and I in them, bear much fruit, because apart from me you can do nothing. If you abide in me and my words abide in you, ask for whatever you wish, and it will be done for you. My Father is glorified by this, that you bear much fruit and become my disciples." The sign of a true disciple is the fruit that he or she bears. What fruit are these? Paul, in his letter to the Galatians, tells us that these are love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. This is Galatians 5:22-23. There are other fruit, of course, like humility and modesty, but we'll go with these 9 for now. These are the signs that we are disciples of Christ, leading a life pleasing to him, which is a holy life. Now take a quick look at your life. Do you bear these fruit, and do you bear them in abundance or not? Take self-control, for instance. Do you have self-control? Are you able to control your temper, or do you lose it all the time, getting angry at the drop of a hat? How about your appetite? Are you able to resist that second helping when your stomach is already full, or do you reach out for the serving spoon? If these are occasional lapses, for instance, if you get angry once in a blue moon, or you decide to pig out on the odd occasion, it's not something that should unduly disturb you. But if you lose your temper constantly, or just keep binge eating, then it is cause for concern because it's a sign that you are not bearing the fruit of self-control that you should. So why aren't we bearing these fruit? Because we aren't exercising sufficient willpower? No, willpower is never enough. Unfortunately, most of us have been trying to lead holy lives through our own efforts. It isn't going to happen. You should know you have tried. You have failed. You have beaten yourself up. You have felt guilty. You have tried harder. And it is a cycle that is either endlessly repeated, or in disgust you just say, "Hey, I've had it with the faith," and you quit. But the mistake we have been making is not realizing that we can be holy simply by being with Jesus, like a branch bears fruit by remaining on the vine. I mean, think about it. Have you ever passed by an orchard? Or have you walked by a tree that was laden with fruit? Do you hear the branches groaning and grunting, struggling to bear fruit? No. They don't need to exercise any effort because all they need to do is to remain attached to the tree. This is why Jesus used the analogy of a vine and branches. He is the vine. To bear fruit, all we need to do is to be attached to the vine. How? Through perpetually remaining in the presence of God. The problem with us is most of us are not attached to the vine. Let me use a more modern analogy so this idea is reinforced. I have a laptop here, okay? Now it is not connected to a power source, but if I push the power button, it comes on. Why? Because there is a battery inside it and it contains power. However, the power contained in the battery is limited, and eventually, when it exhausts its charge, the laptop dies. Our spiritual lives are like this laptop. We go for a worship service or a prayer meeting, plugging into a power source, which is the presence of God. Being in the presence of God charges our spiritual battery, but most of us, if not all of us, disconnect from the power source when we leave and run on battery power, which gets depleted faster than any laptop. And we go back to living unspiritual lives, or if you prefer, unfruitful lives. Lives without love, without joy, without peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, or self-control. Why? Because we have run out of spiritual power. But if I were to connect this laptop to a power source, I don't have to worry about my laptop dying on me. Similarly, if I am always attached to the vine, I don't have to worry about not bearing fruit because I always will. The question is, how do I always remain on the vine? And you know the answer by now, don't you? By remaining perpetually in the presence of God. And how do we perpetually remain in the presence of God? Let's go to the expert. He's Brother Lawrence, who kind of knows these things far better than I do, at least for now. And I'm going to read to you something that he has written. The practice of the presence of God is an application of our mind to God, or a remembrance of God present that can be brought about either by the imagination or the understanding. And then he continues by saying, the habit is formed by the repetition of acts and by frequently bringing the mind back into God's presence. I'm going to read that to you again. The habit is formed by the repetition of acts and by frequently bringing the mind back into God's presence. Now, this is not going to be something that comes easily because we're not used to it. As we have already established, we sometimes go for hours, if not days, without giving God the slightest thought. The only times we do connect, and this applies to most of us, is when we go for a worship service somewhere. So we have to make purposeful, conscious efforts at changing this. This is why I gave you that exercise on the first day to set an alarm and to turn your thoughts towards God every time the alarm rings. On the second day, I told you to constantly start expressing your love for Him when the alarm rings and in between the times the alarm goes off. Today, I'm going to push the envelope a little more. Now that you've started connecting more frequently, I want you to start getting Him involved in every activity that you engage in. Again, this will take practice, but start. It may not hurt for you to take a few post-it notes and stick it on prominent locations. May I suggest a few? Your bathroom mirror, for one. So if you forgot to think of God when you woke up, when you start brushing your teeth and you see that little post-it mirror, you will recall Him. So, thank Him for the day, ask Him for His blessings, and tell Him to stick with you. And stick another one on the door of your fridge. Stick another one on the dashboard of your car, another on your computer monitor. Do this in several prominent locations, so whenever you look at one of these, you will kind of think about God. But now let us serve, not only to remind you to think about God, but also to invite Him into every activity. Lawrence writes, and this is from Spiritual Maxim number 9. During our work and other activities, even during our reading and writing, no matter how spiritual, and I emphasize, even during our religious exercises and vocal prayers, we must stop for a moment as often as possible to adore God in the depths of our hearts, to savor Him, even though in passing and stealthily. Paul tells us, so whether you eat or drink or whatever you do it all for the glory of God. I would add to that, and for the love of God, because as I said earlier, we can do crazy things for love, can't we? Now notice how Lawrence tells us to stop for a moment, even when doing spiritual things. This is because we lose the connect with God, even when praying, especially when saying prayers by rote. So stop, look at God, pay some attention to Him, and see what happens. So let me tell you how this works practically, all right? Let's say you have a boring job. Most people have jobs that are very dull, so it's a valid example. So you hate going to work, which is often for long hours for little reward. Now, however, you've decided that you're going to do whatever you do out of love for God. So you would get to your desk, you would sit down, you would think of God, You would thank him for the job that you have, and you would say to him, Lord, whatever I'm going to do now, I'm going to do for the love of you, so help me do the best I can. And you will notice that in a few days, you actually start to work better, feel more fulfilled, and get satisfaction from what you do. And because God is with you, he will bless you in ways that you cannot even imagine, even though you are not seeking his blessings. Now, are you a student? This can work for you too. Studies are boring. I know, I hated school. But then I didn't have God in my life then, and I don't know what I know now. If I had, then I might have started each lesson telling God that I wanted to learn things so that I could honor him and make him proud. We want to honor our parents, don't we? Make them proud of us. But forget about them and forget about the honor that you are going to get. Just do it for God. And now, because you do it for God, he will bless you and honor you. And you will get understanding, you will get a good memory, you will get excellent grades, and everybody will be proud, including you. But you did it for God. Do you see how it works? I can testify to this. I have started writing songs, and recently I decided to sing one. It's called Flow Living Water. I prayed when I wrote the song, and I told God it was for him. And after the song was written and recorded, I put it on my Facebook page, and it started getting hundreds of likes. And the views moved rapidly from 1,000 to 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. And even though I like to think I do everything for God, I mean, come on, the song was about God. I realized I was basking in the glory, especially because most of my life, all I heard people tell me was how I couldn't sing. And in my head, I was going, see, you said I couldn't sing, look at me now. But then I realized I was not giving God the glory, so I went to him and I said, sorry, Lord, you can have all the likes that you want. I don't want anything. And the next day, the likes shot up to 9,000. Okay, this is not the best example, but it shows you how it works, because when we're always in the presence of God, then we start to do the will of God. When we do the will of God, we really become a friend of God. I remember a few months ago, I was invited to pray over a really sick person who was lying comatose in a hospital bed. The doctors had given up all hope. And as I prayed, I said, God, you are my friend. Won't you please listen to my prayer and heal this brother of mine? And I heard God saying, I will, Aneel, but tell me this, are you my friend? And it was a very piercing question, the kind of question that Jesus asked Peter shortly before his ascension. Do you love me? He asked Peter, not once or twice, but 3 times. And it really cut Peter. And his question cut me too. You know, we keep expecting God to do things for us, but we ourselves are so reluctant to do anything for God. I've really tried to be his friend over the years, and even more so now. And I hope that you will too, because at this moment in time, he's asking you too, are you my friend? And if you say, maybe not, Lord, but I would like to be your friend, he says, come spend time with me and become my friend. I will end this session with another favorite song of mine. It's called Draw Me Close, and it's by Kelly Carpenter, a worship leader based in the United States. While this song is good for everybody, especially to kind of take us deep into the heart of God, I think that those who have been close to God in the past but have grown distant over the years might use it as a homecoming song. God bless you.
Draw me close to you. Never let me go. warmth of your embrace. Help me find a way, bring me back to you. Close to you, never let me go. I lay it all down again to hear you say that I'm your friend. My desire, no one else will do, 'cause nothing else can take your place. To feel the warmth of your help me find a way, bring me back to you. You're all I want. You're all I ever needed. Help me know you